In the personal defense world, there are many myths that can result in people wasting a lot of their time and money thinking that they're doing something to improve their safety. On this episode of Tactical Tidbits, I'll share with you my top 5 personal defense myths. I'm Herman Morris with Alpha One Tactical. Please help me spread the word of personal safety by liking, following, and sharing. Okay, let's jump straight to my top 5 personal defense myths. Myth number 1, training in a martial art or combat sport is all you need to be able to handle a violent encounter. As someone who's trained in both martial arts and combat sports since I was a kid, I can tell you that this myth is very prevalent. I spent most of my youth having the unconscious bias that just because I trained in Muay Thai or Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu or MMA that I had nothing to worry about, out in the street. Now, many fellow lifelong martial artists sometimes take offense when we point this out because they think that we're denigrating their art or sport, but it's to the contrary. We understand that the art or sport is a very important part of someone's toolbox, but it is not sufficient. Okay? Those systems deal almost exclusively with the aspect of fighting only, and under very controlled conditions, I might add. And very rarely do they address very important factors such as situational awareness, self-awareness, de-escalation techniques. In other words, learning not to fight. All right, now myth number 2, it's pretty similar to the previous one. As long as I own or carry a weapon, I'm safe. The same issues as the first myth apply here, except with the added challenge that most people who own or carry weapons don't train with them nearly as much as those who train martial arts or combat sports. And they are both complex motor skills. Remember that. All right. Now, myth number 3 in a way is an extension of the first. Personal defense requires a lot of training. Because most people think of martial arts or combat sports when they think of personal defense, they assume that the same type of training and frequency is needed. The fact is that when it comes to empty-hand personal defense, we are better served by training strategies and techniques about avoiding the fight altogether, and second, learning fighting techniques, at which point it's best to focus on simple gross motor skills as opposed to the complex motor skills that are so common in martial arts and combat sports. Now, in terms of weapons, the more complex and less intuitive the weapon, the more training one will need. But it's still less than most people think, especially if they take the opportunity to learn about the psychology, physiology, and physics of violence that we teach as part of personal defense readiness. All right, so on to myth number 4. You can outsource your safety to first responders. Now, although there are plenty of people whose sole job it is to help you when you're in trouble, the reality is that 9 out of 10 times, they only arrive in time to clean up the mess and do paperwork. Now, that's not a jab at cops or paramedics or firemen. Even if they have every intention of helping you, it's physically impossible for them to be everywhere there's an emergency immediately. That's why we teach the Nixie mindset. Now, check out the episode on that topic if you haven't already. Okay, so the last myth is your ability to defend yourself depends on your size, strength, and athletic ability. Keep in mind that everyday regular people with little to no training successfully defend themselves against bigger, stronger attackers. The biggest factor in those fights is mindset, the willingness to do whatever it takes to preserve your life and health in order to be there for those who depend on you. All right, well, obviously there are a lot of more myths that permeate the world of personal defense, but these are just the 5 that I come across most often, in my career at least, and which I think that are the biggest culprits of driving people away from getting more involved in their personal safety or that point people in the wrong direction. If you want to learn more about these myths and learn the facts about how to best protect yourself and your family, come join us in a class go check out our class schedule at alpha1tactical.com, and I'll see you next time.